And they're my two pillows. But you took them from the bed. I put them on your own bed.
Give up. You horrible girl. You two-faced bunch.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Not me. And you are in the conflict forever because you can't get out of your own way.
Rage.
With the release of 28 Years Later on the horizon, I thought why not take the opportunity to go back and look at a piece of zombie media that mostly went unnoticed. And maybe for good reason. Dead Set's one of those extremely promising concept shows, but one that doesn't seem to understand the potential it has, and it's very frustrating. I remember first watching this show when it came out during my early teens, where I was rushing to consume every single piece of zombie media I possibly could to indulge in my sad fantasy of societal collapse by zombie outbreaks, so that all my worries of responsibility could be washed away, even though if that were to actually happen in reality, let's face it, I'd be dead day one. Created by Black Mirror's Charlie Brooker, Dead Set is dead set on setting the set of Dead Set on the dead set of modern-day travelling freak show Big Brother, the reality show that sticks 16 regular people obsessed with becoming D-list celebrities, or 16 D-list celebrities obsessed with becoming C-list celebrities, in a house, cut off from the outside world as we watch as they voluntarily decay their own mental health. The choice to set a zombie outbreak in the Big Brother house is genuinely nothing short of genius, because of the endless avenues for rich social commentary and satire it allows for. It practically writes itself. The apocalypse happens and the most oblivious people are the ones on reality TV. Literally cut off from reality. I mean, you can make a statement on the mindless zombies paralleling the mindless audience absorbing this slop, the brutal nature of the TV industry. I mean, there's so much meat on this bone. But the main issue I have with this show is it doesn't commit or really even explore on a base level the themes it so obviously, so desperately wants to. It's no secret that some of the best zombie films are rich in some angle of social commentary. 28 Days Later, the themes of brutality of man are not only shown visually, blurring the lines between the infected and Killian's character towards the end, but these commentaries are literally baked into the script.
This is what I've seen in the 4 weeks since infection. People killing people, which is much what I saw in the 4 weeks before infection and the 4 weeks before that, and before that, as far back as I care to remember, people killing people.
It's no coincidence that the main threat in the end isn't the infected but a group of men. Dawn of the Dead uses its setting in a shopping mall to highlight themes of consumerism and society's obsession with material possessions. The visuals of the slow meandering pace of the zombies so unmistakably hark back to our own experiences traversing through hordes of shopgoers. Shaun of the Dead and its focus on the mindless routine of the average Brit, wreck and media sensationalism. Even Zombieland gives us some juicy Hollywood consumerism and nostalgia meat to chew on. I can enjoy a good zombie flick devoid of any semblance of social commentary. It's in no way a necessity. But to me, it's the biggest waste of potential when you set your zombie show in a house that, to me, already symbolises a depressing collapse in society, and absolutely nothing's done with it. Dead Set opens exactly like an episode of Big Brother. The graphics, the camera angles, even Marcus Bentley's skin-crawling voice. The aspect of the Big Brother realism is probably the strongest element of Dead Set. I mean, they're both Channel 4 productions, or at least they were in 2008, so they probably had access to some of their production team. I mean, Davina McCall's even in it. But luckily she dies in episode 1. But yeah, obviously both these shows are owned by Channel 4. And that is an important factor in today's discussion. Can I really expect a full-on criticism of a popular long-running reality program from the same people that broadcasts it in the first place? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it depends, but there's definitely a conflict of interest there.
It's a slight fantasy, I think, for everybody to kind of see what they would be like in Big Brother. And a lot of people wouldn't do it. I necessarily would never do it. It's kind of like selling your soul to the devil. But I really like it. It's like the closest you can get to it.
It would almost be like creating an episode of your anthology series satirising the concept of a subscription service and having it funded and televised on the world's biggest subscription service. Oh wait, but then again, given Charlie's lack of any type of a filter, I wouldn't be surprised if he had complete free reign to say any number of awful things about Big Brother in Dead Set as he could.
This eco theme, this vague eco theme we've gone for this year, is the sort of thing they might do on the show. It suits us to give them a biodome and I don't know, because the new series, this year's series of the actual Big Brother hasn't gone on. I don't know what their theme will be this year. It could be child molestation. I doubt it, but it could be.
But satirising a concept or providing effective social commentary doesn't need to be an all-or-nothing criticism of it. It could just be a simple exploration, a little look-see under the microscope. The great thing about a lot of the themes and topics explored by zombie films in the past is they're not black and white concepts. Dawn of the Dead isn't simply saying shop's bad, but it gives you something to chew on. That's it. That's all I wanted from this show. Our main protagonist in Dead Set is Kelly, a runner for Channel 4 during the shooting of the series of Big Brother. She's having boyfriend troubles, and we cut to him every now and then, and it's Riz Ahmed. Hey, Kelly ends up held up in the Big Brother house with the other contestants, and that's just kind of it for the majority of the series. Part of my issue is, after all the Big Brother stuff is done, transmissions cut off, the cameras stop moving, the rest of the world is overrun, it just turns into a standard zombie scenario. Group of people are trapped in a place and they need to figure out how to escape and avoid the zombies. The Big Brother setting, this great premise, becomes simply a gimmick rather than a thematic vehicle. It provides novelty but not insight, which I find so strange from the creator of Black Mirror, a writer who exudes sardonicism and cynicism to an insane degree. The shit that comes out of this man's mouth, I'm bewildered Dead Set lacked this type of personality.
TV should scare people, should terrify people. I hope kids stay up late and watch this and come away traumatised and then fucking kill each other in 15 years' time. There's fewer fucking human beings in this rotting world. Why do I always say things like that? What is the matter with me? I don't mean it.
But as I mentioned, it comes through in spades in the show that he created straight after this. Whilst being fairly hit and miss, Black Mirror definitely has more of its share of really insightful, smart social commentary. Whether communicated well or not, it's almost always there. And as I said earlier, it's not always a flat-out condemnation of the topics it's exploring. My favourite episode of Black Mirror is Series 2's White Bear. Spoilers for White Bear, but what I love most about this story is how it makes every single viewer question their own morality. How far can a punishment go until it's too much, even for the most heinous crime you can think of? The episode doesn't tell you how to feel, but it simply crafts a scenario and world where your limits are pushed, where you're forced to look at yourself in the mirror. Obviously, I'm not comparing Big Brother to corporal punishment, although watching Big Brother sometimes maybe feels like My point is, Charlie Brooker knows how to hold a mirror up to society in an effective way that doesn't necessarily have to handhold us to a conclusion. A question you may be wondering is, why does it need this added layer of social commentary? Why would that make the show better? Well, that's a dumb fucking question. Nah, just kidding. The thing is, it's a case-by-case basis. Sometimes good stories can just be good stories and not have any social or political commentary present, but disregarding the fact that setting the show in the Big Brother house in the first place basically screams explore the topic of reality show consumerism. A big reason why social commentary can be so effective is not only does it allow the viewer to reflect on their own perspectives, but art at its best gives us an insight into the mind of the artist. And the fact I learned Charlie Brooker's real opinions on Big Brother from the behind the scenes footage of Dead Set rather than the show itself is very telling.
It's all made out of sort of wood, which I don't think they would in the real Big Brother. They'd probably make it out of gold. and skin child molestation.
I kind of got the impression he was a fan of this type of stuff before hearing some of the comments he made in the interviews for the DVD extras, and I find that very silly. You don't need to force it down our throats, but maybe just give us some semblance of your perspective as a writer, rather than just a poorly directed base under siege zombie drama, you silly goose. Now, I know I've been harsh on this show. I don't want you leaving here thinking I hate it, because I don't. I just know how good Charlie Brooker can be. This show's premise seemed like a perfect opportunity for him to write something great. And the show isn't even badly written. The characters are pretty dynamic and fun. There are some genuinely funny lines of dialogue.
Yeah, no, it is. It's that sort of black one, you know. I don't know, I don't watch it. You know, you're shorter in real life. Well, he's on his knees, isn't he, Bob?
Also, some credit is due. Dead Set is pretty much the first zombie show ever to be made. They broke the mold for things like The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead Dead City, and Fear the Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead The Ones Who Lived, and The Walking Dead World Beyond, and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon The Book of Carol, and The Walking Dead Revenge of Glenn, and The Walking Dead Dead Walking, and The Walking Dead Moon of the Dead, and The Walking Dead Dead Reckoning Part 2, and The Walking Dead Red Dead Dead Ren. The makeup's pretty good. The set design, as I mentioned earlier, is great. As a kid watching this for the first time, I fell in love with this show, but watching it now, it frustrates me because I can see how good it could have been. I want to take a brief time to talk about the filmography of Dead Set, because in all honesty, it's probably its worst aspect. Whilst there are lines here and there in the dialogue of, say, Dawn of the Dead, it's mainly visuals that communicate the themes of materialism and consumerism. The long takes, the editing choices, the visuals of the zombies mindlessly bumping into each other in the shopping mall communicates everything so effectively, but if Charlie truly wanted to let the effective commentary come through in the visuals of Dead Set, the director really let him down. The series was directed by the man, Jan de Mange, and he's done some okay stuff. I enjoyed 71, but holy bajolies if Dead Set isn't one of the ugliest shows ever created. During scenes of action, it becomes a lot funnier if you try to imagine how exactly the cameraman is getting this shot, if not for violently slamming it up and down like a madman. I hate it, it looks bad. It's not a style, it's an absence of style. When the entire show is shot bog standard, boring framing handheld, but then a zombie comes in, suddenly, oh fuck, there's an earthquake, everyone get under the table. Also, some of the ugliest use of day for night I've ever seen. If you're unfamiliar, day for night is essentially exactly how it sounds. Nighttime scenes are filmed during the day and so are colour corrected in post to make them seem like nighttime. But usually, extra steps are added to make it more convincing, although it almost never looks good. But you could at least get rid of the massive top-down shadows on everyone's necks. I mean, you got characters literally shielding their eyes from the sun when it's supposed to be 7 o'clock at night, you fucking dweeb. It makes the show look ugly, and it strips it of any character it might have had due to Charlie's fun dialogue, which is there. The way the presentation leans so heavily into this standard horror framework makes it so if there was any satirical content in the writing, it's lost by becoming the exact thing it seems to want to parody. Now, I want to make clear, I don't think the show's failure for presenting rich social commentary is down to it being too subtle. I just don't think it's there at all. I mean, watch interviews with Charlie Brooker. It seems very much like he just thought the Big Brother house would be an interesting setting for a zombie outbreak, based off of concept alone.
And then one day I was watching Big Brother, and I just thought that is the perfect place to hide during a zombie apocalypse. It's a fortified house, and it's a funny situation, and also you'd be dealing with a bunch of people who'd been chosen not to get on well with each other. So it seemed like the perfect setting.
Thing is I agree that it's an interesting setting for a zombie outbreak, depending on what you do with it. If you do nothing with it, it becomes as exchangeable as the weapons they're using to kill the zombies. It's an interesting idea because of the potential it brings. This is also the same with the characters. I've already spoken about Kelly. She's sort of a blank slate, which is fine for a show like this, as long as the other characters make up for it. Patrick, the producer, is definitely the most over-the-top character. Clearly he's supposed to be be a gross caricature of media cynicism, but his arc is so shallow. He exists more like a stock villain than an effective figure of critique. Even the guests in the Big Brother house, whilst they do seem like the type of people who would go on this show, there's a huge opportunity here to represent them as fame-hungry, image-obsessed, explore the type of person who would sign up for the experience in the first place. Again, it doesn't have to be a condemnation, but at least an exploration. I mean, there's no scenes with these characters where they're meaningfully interrogated. I mean, look, is the true allegorical nature of Dead Set just presented too subtly for me to notice? Was it present all along in more than just the logline? Was it thought about and rejected for a classic no-nonsense zombie thriller, or was the potential never noticed at all? Thing is, if you try hard enough, you can find meaning in almost anything. But it's a frustrating thing when your premise is begging to have some depth added to it and almost everyone involved is blind to this fact. But maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe Dead Set itself is an allegory for wasted potential. The human race, half of us so obsessed with being looked at and the other half so obsessed with looking that we failed to see what was in front of us the whole time. A big juicy ass. Alright, see you later.